G'day everyone, welcome to Two Wheel Workshop. I'm Brody and today I'm going to be replacing swing arm bushings in an XS650. Alright, so these bikes originally came out with plastic bushings, which you can see here. Now as you can imagine, these wore out really quickly and having loose swing arm bushings creates all sorts of handling problems. So if you have an XS650 and it's still got the original bushings, I'll suggest you replace them. Now there's a couple of options. We've got these brass bushings, which I'm going to use here, and I've previously replaced them with a roller bearing kit, and I'll put a link up to that video now. Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to do to make it easier to get these things in is put the bushings in the freezer for about 4 hours. Alright, so the next thing you're going to need to do is get the old bushings out. Now there is a couple of ways of doing that. Some people heat them up with a heat gun and then pull them out with pliers. That hasn't really worked for me in the past, so what I've done is, and what I'm going to do again, is I've cut a section out of the bushing just to relieve the pressure and then drifted them out. There it is there. Alright, so as you can tell, the swing arm's looking a bit ratty, so what I'm going to do while the bushings are shrinking up in the freezer is I'm going to sandblast it and paint this, and by the time the bushings have had enough time to shrink, this should be ready to go to put them in. Alright, so I've painted the swing arm in BHT gloss black caliper paint, and I baked it under the hood of the barbecue for about half an hour. Alright, so I've let it cool down, the paint's cured. Now it's time to get the bushings back out of the freezer and knock them in with a copper hammer. I'll just try and line the bloody thing up a bit. There we go. Right, you know what? I'm going to do that in the press. Alright, so now that I've got it started with the hammer, I'm just going to use the press. You can finish it off with the hammer, but I've got the press, so why not use it? Alright, so there's the swing arm with the new bushings installed. I'm not actually going to install it in the bike just yet because that's the frame hanging up there. I've got all these components over here to fix up. That's the engine. So we've got a while to go before we get to that point. But I'll give you a quick rundown of how you would go with installation now anyway. Okay, so all you need to do from here is grease up this sleeve, place it into the swing arm, put the grease seals on either of the swing arm like this, put the swing arm back in the bike, install the shaft, put the lock tab on, tighten up the nut, make sure the swing arm has no sideways play but can still pivot up and down nice and smoothly, lock the lock tab off, and then pump grease into either side of this shaft, and you're done. Alright, so that's it for this one, guys. If you got something out of it, please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, if you've got any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll do my best to help you out. So the next video I'm going to do is probably going to be rebuilding the forks. Thanks for watching and I'll see you then.